What's up, RaptorScope watchers? The Raptors have won 3 in a row, and I'm here to talk about the Raptors versus the Indiana Pacers game. So unfortunately, I didn't get to watch this game, and I didn't even watch the highlights because it was a blowout. I kind of knew it was going to be a blowout because the Pacers are short-handed from Halliburton last season, and they got a whole bunch of guys injured this season. It didn't really seem like they would have a chance against our full team, barely any injuries, if any at all. And the stats show those results. Basically, it looks like a couple good players played the best they could. They did the standard scoring and defense, and our team just coasted. It didn't seem like it was a very hard job to put the Pacers away tonight. Just lack of firepower, lack of players who they're used to playing with. I think they said they were on their 9th starting lineup. You're not going to win games this season against many teams like that. The Raptors are up and coming. There are so many teams in the East that are basically plagued with injuries that the ones that are left are going to have a chance. It's going to be interesting to see. The Indiana Pacers aren't one of those teams, but they are a good team once they are fully staffed. You know what I always say? They aren't fully staffed. We got to beat them up. We are fully staffed. We got to take advantage just like they would against us. Let's get into the numbers. The 3 matchups we're doing today will be Emmanuel Quickley versus Andrew Nembhard, Scotty Barnes versus Pascal Siakam, one of our championship alumni, of course. And lastly, we're just going to look at the team numbers. There weren't enough players to challenge the Raptors, give us a good fight, to really give a good comparison. None of them scored more than 10 points other than Siakam and Nembhard, and it wasn't a fair fight. Let's just say it that way. And yeah, we blew them out. I think an 18-point win. It was more at some point. For the Raptors, they had their usual things clicking. The 2 matchups that I'm going to show, we actually lost both of them. It was pretty close, but it's not that our players played badly. It just seemed like everybody on the starting lineup spread the wealth. A lot of the other players in the starting lineup on the Raptors definitely did their job scoring, playing defense, but these matchups, you can tell Pascal Siakam and Andrew Nembhard are top players in the league. It's just the fact that they are shorthanded other than those 2 players. Let's get into the numbers. Emmanuel Quickley hit 5 of 10 shots for 12 points on 50% shooting. He hit 2 3-pointers. He had 3 rebounds, no stocks. His assist to turnover ratio was 3.5 to 1. He had 7 assists and 2 turnovers, so he did pretty well there. His plus minus was plus 11. This is a case where he did his job. 12.7 assists, just a standard point guard job. Other players were on the court who could score. He didn't do that much of that job. Next, we're gonna do Andrew Nembhard. Nembhard actually shot pretty well. 7 of 12 shooting for 22 points on 58% shooting. He had 4 3-pointers, 22 points, 4 rebounds, a stock, an assist to turnover ratio of 5 to 1, which is not bad. Good for him, but you know, it didn't really have an impact on the game too much because his plus minus was negative 14. I could not tell you what would attribute to that other than the team game of the Raptors just being too much for whoever was on the starting lineup with him. Indiana's whole starting lineup had a negative plus minus. I don't see much here to say that Quickley necessarily won this matchup. He did have more assists. He just seemed to do his part on the starting lineup tonight. I can't really give it to Quickley, but I can't say that Nembhard beat him. He had a negative 14 plus minus, although he played well. I guess the other players in the starting lineup definitely caused a bit of the deficit that was gained when Nembhard was on the court. It definitely had to be the players that he was playing with. 4 or 5 3-point shots, 7 of 12 shooting, barely any turnovers. He played well, but unfortunately, you know, it does matter who's on the court with you. Plus minus is a pretty complicated stat. He did the best he could, it looks like. The Raptors with their full starting lineup are just going to be too much for that. So let's move on to the next matchup, which would be Scotty Barnes versus our old friend Pascal Siakam. So Pascal is actually an alumni of the Raptors. Everybody should know this if you're watching, but if you don't know, Pascal and Scotty actually played together. Pascal was unfortunately on his way out. Scotty Barnes won Rookie of the Year when the Raptors drafted him, and we rebuilt. We traded Pascal for a couple players here. We then traded OG Anunoby for another couple players there. Those are the players that our team consists of now, and we did pretty well in terms of bringing back talent for him, and thankfully we did get something good back, but it was sad to see Pascal go. That being said, let's get into the numbers. Scotty Barnes hit 3-7 shots for 14 points on 4 43% shooting. He did also hit 8 of 9 free throws, which is actually fairly impressive. He had 11 rebounds, 2 stocks, which were a steal and a block. His assist to turnover ratio was 3-1. He had 6 assists and 2 turnovers, which is it's decent. His plus minus was 17. He didn't do a lot of the scoring, but obviously they spread the wealth around the starting lineup, and you can just see it based on the plus minus that when he was on the court, obviously also when Pascal was on the court, at least for Pascal, the Raptors pulled ahead by about 11 points. Scottie and Pascal aren't quite similar players, but they do bring a lot of the same attributes to a game. Pascal had to do a lot more of the heavy lifting on his team, clearly, because as I mentioned before, there aren't very many of their starters actually playing right now. A lot of them are injured. That's just how it goes sometimes in the league. When your players are injured, your team stinks. Pascal Siakam shot 10 of 19 shots for 30 points on 52.6% shooting. He hit 5 3-pointers, 5 of 10, which is pretty good. Again, very impressive. He also had 4 rebounds, 2 stocks, which were steals. His assist to turnover ratio, he didn't have any turnovers, so he had 3 assists and no turnovers. Pretty impressive. I can even give this matchup to Pascal because specifically Scottie, he outplayed Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes also did his job. I don't like to give away matchups, especially to the opposing team, when our players did their job, especially on a lopsided matchup like this with regards to the teams, because the fact is Pascal, Siakam, Andrew Nembhard, they had to do most of, if not all of the heavy lifting. Of course, he's going to score most of the points. That's what his job is usually, but when other starters aren't on the court, it's going to be even more on his shoulders to get those points. For the last matchup, I thought I would just do a team versus team matchup. There aren't any players in Indiana who seem like it would be a fair or worthwhile matchup to even talk about. The 2 players that I did do the matchups for, they're the best players left on the team, frankly. There are some good other role players, don't get me wrong, but clearly they couldn't do the job tonight. So I'll just start with the Raptors. They shot 5.25% shooting overall. We only hit 7 3-pointers to win this game. Apparently we couldn't hit our 3-pointers, but that didn't stop us from coming out with a victory and in a blowout fashion. So 129 to 111, 46 rebounds to 40, which is fairly even, 16 stocks to 8. Now, some of those are going to be possessions. That's part of what I think made the difference, them missing shots and us having more possessions than they did. Our assist to turnover ratio was 2.4. Theirs was 1.5. We beat them in that category. The Raptors didn't have a lot of turnovers in this game at all. Not that the Pacers did have that many, but it's good to see a low number like 12. Some teams often reach into the teens. We don't want to be up in the 15 to 20 range, but that's actually where the Pacers ended up. They ended up with 15. With such a disparity in the assist to turnover ratio, I'm assuming that we had more assists. Yeah, we had 29 assists and they had 22 assists. Meanwhile, they had more turnovers and we had less. So clearly we won the possessions game. Definitely overall as a team outplayed the Pacers today and our old friend Pascal Siakam. This was not much of a game to watch. I had a special occasion, so that's why I couldn't watch it. I'm not gonna pay much attention to it because it was a stinker for the other team and we're thriving. We're on a 3-game win streak. We've won 7 of our last 8 games. So watch out for the Raptors teams in the NBA. I think they're coming for everybody. I even heard the Indiana Pacers announcers talking about that. Here's me saying I didn't watch the game. I'm talking about what the announcers said. While I was editing, I basically heard part of what the announcers were saying, and they are watching out for us. They recognized that our win against the Cavs was definitely a statement game. The Cavs were #1 seed last season. Everybody forgets this. They think about Boston. Boston got beat. New York beat Boston, but the Cavs were the #1 seed. So let's not forget about that. The Cavs game was a statement game, and I think the Raptors are going to have a pretty good run this season. Let's see how it goes. Anyways, Raptor fans, you have a good one. I'm A-Dubs. Peace out.